I can smell the wood in that fireplace cooking. Smells good this morning out here. It's a cold 40 degrees, but it feels really nice. Yep, Bill's in there getting the biscuits ready. I can't wait. There's the biscuit maker.
What?
I said, there's the biscuit maker. Oh, he's got some help. Oh. And this tree here is a Russian olive tree. I did air layer a branch from it, and it's in bloom. It's starting to bloom, and it smells like honeysuckle. It just smells so good. That's probably why somebody planted it, close to the house. I got one back there in the chicken pen, so when you walk through there, it just smells so good. I like this time of year, having all these trees smelling good. Oh, poor tiger, gosh. We brought this coffee pot out here to heat it up. Well, we got the wood cooking. A little bit we'll start cooking the bacon. So it's a nice warm place to sit and warm up. Oh, they were waiting for Mama to bring out the bacon. That was so cute. She says, "Oh, I'll help you, Mom. Where is that? Where's the bacon? I smell it." Oh, she found it. Yeah. I brought some bacon out. It's starting to smell good, and the heat from that really smells, or feels good. And Bill wants to tell you about Chaco Canyon. It's an interesting place, and he's going to talk about it a little bit.
Well, Chaco Canyon is what they call an Anasazi site. It's up in northwestern New Mexico, in the Four Corners area. Basically, we've been up there several times on trips. We usually go a week, make a big circle in southeastern Utah, and then southwestern Colorado, and camp. And then after a few days, we try to find a motel to try to clean up. We've visited a lot of cliff dwellings and remote cliff dwellings in that area. We usually don't go any farther north than Moab, and then cut east back over to Telluride, Colorado. Anyway, how I found out about the area, I bought a book a long time ago, and it's called the Weather Reels of Mesa Verde. It's a family that homesteaded close to Mesa Verde, and if you don't know where that is, it's in southwestern Colorado, not too far from Durango, and it's a major cliff dwelling. It's a big tourist site, so if anybody's interested in that kind of thing, in the summer it really gets a lot of tourists, and it's quite a big area. There's cliff dwellings from the ancient people, the people that were there before the Utes, before the Apache, before the Sioux. They were back in prehistory.
Is that the Anasazi?
Anasazi.
Yeah.
There's different cultures. Down here we have the Mimbres culture and the Fresno culture. I kind of like that. But anyway, getting back to the Wetherell family, there was several brothers. I need to check the bacon.
Gotta check the bacon.
Back to the Wetherell family. There were several brothers in the family. There were a Quaker family that moved west in the late 1800s and homesteaded a ranch there called the Alamo Ranch, actually. The reason they call it the Alamo, and people heard about the Alamo in Texas, and there's areas out here called Alamo Gordo. Alamo means cottonwood. In Spanish, Alamogordo is large cottonwood. But getting back to the Wetherells, they started getting a lot of tourists and army people coming in wanting to see the cliff dwellings and go on sites, and they would take people out on pack trips. They took several scientists through the Four Corners area. One particular woman from Denver was a botanist, Alice Eastwood, and she was way ahead of her time, well thought of in some other countries, but you don't hear much about her in this part of the world. But she was a botanist from a college in Denver. I forget what college. And she named a lot of the plants in the Four Corners area, and she actually, the scientific name, she put wetherill on the end of it to honor this family, that because they treated her so well and willing to take a woman out on horseback trip like that. That was not common back then, and especially with alone with men. Nothing went on. They were real respectful of her. As a matter of fact, I think she was one of the first people that she had a skirt, and she cut it and sewed it up like jeans so she could ride a straddle of a horse. She went on one trip. She met one of the Wetherill boys up north of Moab, and they came south on a pack trip, and she named a lot of the plants in that area all the way back to their ranch. And then another group that he took, I don't remember the scientist's name, but he took him to the Grand Canyon on a large trip. They were gone for quite a while, and made a circle to the Hopi mesas and then back around to southwestern Colorado. He's the guy, one of the brothers. I always like to read about him. The name of the book is The Wetherills of Mesa Verde. It's pretty easy to find. It's in a lot of bookstores and libraries too, for that matter. And I kind of followed the way he done. Whenever we go out on a trip, we don't take a lot of fancy stuff. We have taken brownies, and Susie's made brownies before out on the trail. It's in a Dutch oven. But mostly you take biscuits and bacon and coffee and some eggs. They'll keep a while. But they call it woofing it. And it's just the bare essentials. And when you ever come out, you're pretty much ready to go to a restaurant and eat a big meal.
You are. Yeah.
It's living off of a campfire for a week at a time. I enjoy it because you go out where the wild places are, and no traffic, no people, no horns honking. You might hear a jet cross over once in a while if you know where to go. There is places where you can get away from it all still yet, but you've got to go on foot or on horseback. But again, in the Four Corners area, there's if people are interested in that kind of thing, there's several interesting places to go to. Monticello, Utah, Moab, Utah, Mexican Hat, Utah. It's just right on the San Juan River. And there's one called Monument Valley is just south of there, and then Valley of the Gods. It's a large area. Up around Moab, there is a lot of bicycle and Jeep traffic. It's real popular for Jeeping and mountain biking, extreme sports kind of thing. But you can find out of the way places. We always go into the back country west of Monticello. As a matter of fact, we've gone through the Bears Ears. You've heard it a lot in the news. The Bears Ears are just two little mountains. They're hills, and they look like bear's ears, and the road goes right between them as you get up in elevation. And I'm going to have to check my bacon. One of the trips that one of the Wetherill boys went on, that they took some people out, they started getting a lot of tourists, people that could afford to go on trips, and they didn't charge much for the trips. They probably could have made a fortune off of it, but I don't think they really did. they took a man and woman out. Maybe there was more to the party than that, but as I remember, as a man and a woman, they wanted a brass bathtub carried along with them, and he had to tie one on one of his horses and then fetch water for them and heat it up. They didn't really like roughing it. And nowadays you can take a solar shower, and they're real handy. You know, they're better than a cold water. Cold water's hard.
Or heating it up.
Or heating it up over the campfire. But a solar shower works real well. And as far as Chaco Canyon, it's a national cultural site now. And one of the Weather Rail boys was the one that really explored it a lot. And the government looks at them as pot hunters, but that particular brother is the one that coined the term of basket maker. And that was pre-pottery people. That was really ancient.
Bill's checking the bacon. I don't want the bacon to burn.
Anyway, they did, according to the book that I read, they did sell some of the pottery that they uncovered, but who they sold it to was museums that are making money off of it to this day, so that nobody has any room to squawk. And the National Park Service is making money off of it to this day, so they have no room to squawk. And this family was trying to be real careful about disturbing the site. They were amateur archaeologists. They learned as they went. They didn't have degrees in archaeology. I don't think there was degrees at that time, but they sold some pots. They donated some pots, matter of fact, to different museums, but they did sell some.
What? That was pretty far back. What year was that?
Well, they kind of quit doing that in the late 1800s, about 1895 or so, and they actually lost their ranch because they weren't making a fortune off of this. They did make a little bit of money, but they didn't make enough money to keep their ranch. They had a real nice ranch called Alamo Ranch, pretty close to Mesa Verde. And they were good friends with the Ute Indians, who really controlled that area and let them in. The Ute Indians controlled that area at that time, but they would let the Weather Rail boys in to explore, and they're the ones that found one. One of the major ones was called Cliff Palace, and there's pictures, several pictures of that. We've been to it.
That's really big.
It's a large. It looks like a little small city under a cliff overhang. The Park Services built it back up. It was kind of in rubble a long time ago. There's several of them there, and it's a day. It'll eat up a day going to the different sites. Some of them you can hike to, and some of them you just go to an overlook and you can see them from a distance. But there's that kind of stuff all over southeastern Utah. It just something that you ought to see. That part of the country is, to my thinking, is one of the best parts of the country to look at.
If you like to explore, that's wonderful.
Like to explore,
yeah.
It's hard on horseback because it's a lot of what they call slick rock, so you have to be careful on that. But anybody that likes that sort of thing, they ought to check into it.
Yeah.
And check into that book, The Weather Rails of Mesa Verde.
We had to put some more wood in there. It was dying down, get that bacon going. So I appreciate y'all coming by, and thanks for watching Out West Homestead. I'll see you. Oh boy, that looks good. I got the gravy going. That's a good morning. Perfect.